Are you even here? That was like 20 minutes ago. In any case, I don't think this is going to be a particularly popular live stream, given that I don't always do a lot of figures, mostly Transformers and so forth. But I'm going to go with it anyway because this is Bandai's Tamashii Nation's Imagination Works 1/9 scale Son Goku. And if you guys don't know, I've been a big Dragon Ball fan since I was a kid, so I haven't done a lot of figure art stuff. I think there's a lot of good reviewers already out there doing really great stuff. But as part of my 10 days of live streaming, day number 3, I wanted to break it up a bit, and we're going to do Imagination Works Goku. And yeah, let's start off with the packaging. Really nice packaging. You can see the whole figure on the front here, as well as alternate Super Saiyan form in the background in black and white. Him doing kind of a Kamehameha or Kamehameha, depending on how you pronounce it. Nothing much on the top. His Super Saiyan form, Super Saiyan 1 form, powering up a Kamehameha or Kamehameha. And on the back, you can see the different types of information they want to provide you in terms of coloring and value, texture, sculpture, articulation, and again, the transition that you can have from regular base form to Super Saiyan. So yeah, out of the packaging, you get him in a dual layer clamshell, like so. The bottom layer is a figure stand that he comes with, and the rest is the figure itself as well as the accessories. The only thing he comes with instruction-wise, at least in mine, was this folded piece of paper, which is kind of sad given how much they've put into this figure to only have this. It tells you about the interchangeable parts and stuff like that, but it really doesn't go into like articulation or anything like that. So I wish they had put a little bit more time into this. Reminds me of the stuff that we get with SH Figure Arts, which obviously is part of the Tamashii Nations line. But I really would have liked to have seen a little bit more effort into this kind of premium scale figure. Some of the marketing that they provided is much nicer than what we've actually gotten here. So yeah, here he is in his clamshell. We'll just lift this out and get to Goku. Hey Shay, how's it going? Nice to see you again. Here is base Goku. And he comes with a ton of different accessories. The easiest way, honestly, to kind of describe it is that he does have an alternate base form face where he's screaming. Then he has his Super Saiyan hair. 2 Super Saiyan faces. We'll get into these. And at the bottom, he has various pairs of hands. So he has this Kamehameha Energy Blast one. He has his kind of more Kung Fu grip or martial arts grip, 3-finger fork kind of thing. He has splayed open hands for Energy Blast, where you can have him doing his Spirit Bomb, his iconic Spirit Bomb. And then they felt the need to give us his instant transmission or his teleport, but for both hands. The other 3 things that we have on the right here are his alternate eyes. These are all for Super Saiyan, so he has the green eyes here, and then 2 more for his base form, which have the black eyes. So I'm just gonna honestly dump this out here. All right, so he does come with a lot. Oops, sorry about that. You can see just how dense he sounds, just from when he thudded down on my table. So let's try to get these a little bit more organized. And again, the different pairs of hands. He has his splayed hands, just kind of grippy hands. He has his instant transmission hands, his base face, his martial arts stance ones. His eyes, basically he has 3 sets of eyes. They all kind of do the same thing. They're just different colored for his base and his Super Saiyan form. What does he transform into? He transforms into a Super Saiyan. That's what he transforms into. I like the movie Dragon Ball. That's the only Dragon Ball I know. That's a good start. The series itself is kind of long. I've always been more of a fan of manga over anime. But so yeah, going back to his eyes, he has the base one that kind of looks straight, and then one to the top, one to the right, and one to the left or top left. And the same thing for his 3 sets of Super Saiyan eyes. He has one looking straight, and then one looking to the left, and one looking to the right. Taking a look at his base face, you can see it's basically the same thing on both. The coloring is just slightly different. You can see his eyebrows are yellow. And then he has his two screaming faces, or angry faces. These are actually slightly molded differently. You can see his eyebrows are more raised here. This one's more of a kind of like a smirk or cocky kind of attitude, which Super Saiyans tend to have a folly for. And yeah, this is more of a screaming one for his base form. And you get his alternate head, which also comes with his hair. Oh, you don't like the movie? Which movie actually? I mean, there's so many. Like Dragon Ball Super, the movie. That one's a really good one in terms of action and stuff like that. The story itself is nothing really amazing. It's pretty standard Dragon Ball fare. If you watch Dragon Ball, you know they find a superpowered villain, they fight, and then it resolves in the end. It always ends up being just a back and forth brawl between this new character and then. I don't know why they always tend to do this, but they always feel the need. I don't know why this is an opening. They always feel the need to go through all the different forms individually. If you don't know Dragon Ball, they have like 8 different forms at this point and variations for between Super Saiyan, the God modes, Blue, the Rose, and it seems like every movie they start out fighting at the base form and then transition up to 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. And I don't know why they didn't just go straight to the end and just use their most powerful form and just end it. It seems kind of silly. Anyway, I digress. We're gonna come back here. This is the base that he gets. It's actually a pretty sturdy base. Has Imagination Works 1/9 scale, and then Son Goku. The way this works is like basically any other figure stand. There's interchangeable parts here, and you want to have this base piece on this, and this plugs in here. It gives you a hinge this way and this way, hinges up here, and another port here. And that port works in conjunction with either this piece or this piece, which are identical, except this one has a kind of crotch loop, or I don't know what it is, support piece that is optional. So they essentially serve the same function. We'll just go ahead and use this one just because it's more complete. This is the same thing without it. And then you use these little clips, kind of like grips that clip onto the waist typically. And yeah, you just throw them on here. You get some extra support with the crotch piece, but otherwise, you usually can get away with just using the clips on the side. I will say that the base, I feel like you do need to probably tighten this screw a bit, at least on mine. I found that it's a little bit looser than I would like, but that's by design. You can actually tighten those up and loosen them up as you need. But yeah, it's a fine one. I think I would have preferred clear, to be perfectly honest, at least for this part. But it is what it is. It's a perfectly fine stand. Better than the quality that you would probably get from any of the Bandai stage acts or something like that. And much bigger to accommodate the size of this figure. So let me scroll back a bit. Hey, Alexander. Yeah, this guy looks really cool. I mean, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, so... Shay, you said the live action one. Ooh, that's we pretend like that never happened. Nobody acknowledges that movie. I totally forgot about that movie until you just mentioned it. So, yeah, that is not a good indicator of what Dragon Ball is. Please don't judge this series by that. I beg you. Give it a chance in any other medium, whether it's games or comics or anime. It's going to be a much better representation of what Dragon Ball is. But so let's take a look at the figure itself in a quick 360. I have him kind of posed a bit weird, but he looks really nice. I will say he just does stand out. The quality of this piece is really high. So this guy retails for about $110 US on Toy Dojo and other retailers in the US. And I think that's a really good value for this. And I'll explain why when I do some comparisons. But the obvious detail in here that's kind of textured on the clothing. While I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this texture design, it is really well done in terms of just the detail. This whole piece up here is a separate piece from the shoulder piece and the clothes. They're all separate here. This chest inner shirt is a different piece than what you see on the shoulder here, I believe. But yeah, the nice lines and detail in the hair looks really great. And the one thing that really freaks me out about this figure, and I've never experienced it, but talking to T-Man 978, my buddy, he said a lot of other figures do this, is that he actually has rubbery skin here. And it's almost kind of like tacky, a little sticky. I don't know that I like it. And it tends to attract like dust and little hairs and stuff like that. And it's only his arm from the bicep down to his forearm. It's not on his shoulders or his hands or on his chest or neck or anywhere else. So it just kind of feels weird. It just feels honestly kind of creepy. I don't know how else to describe it. It doesn't make me feel I don't know, comforted. I don't think that's. I guess they did it to get rid of kind of the seams, but then you have some weird kind of like molding and stuff like that. So it's a trade-off. It looks great, but it just feels kind of weird unless you've experienced it. It almost feels like, you remember those toys that you get at those gumball machines, the sticky hands, that had like a string and you could fling it and it would stick to the wall. You would use it to fling and hit your friends in the face with a big sticky green hand. Like that's what it is. Yeah, so this is not even a texture. I mean, yeah, I guess not. Well, I guess it is a texture. I mean, but yeah, it's just kind of weird. It's really dusty and sticky right now. I have black spots all over it. Anyway, I'm going too much into detail about that. But by and large, the figure itself looks really quite nice. The details are really nice and vibrant. The colors and the gradients you have, it's not just one solid orange color. There's a little bit of yellow highlights, and orange highlights, darker parts. And again, that just really does shine through. Even on these folds here, these faux creases and stuff, there's different highlights and lowlights that are featured in here. So it makes it look very dynamic. It's a really nice shelf piece for sure. Even with the Super Saiyan hair, this is a really nice representation of the hair. It's not just plain yellow. It actually has, whitish on the tips and stuff like that. And again, more color gradients. Some of it's more yellow. Some of it's a little bit darker, kind of almost goldish. Some pieces are kind of goldish there, which really do make it look quite nice. A lot of detail. The one thing I've noticed just now, though, is they did a really poor job snipping the sprue here, because now I actually have like an indent in his hair. So I don't know if I'll be able to fix that. But yeah, let's do some quick comparisons before I do articulation. I wanted to show him off next to the one of the very many figure arts here. Let me actually scooch down a bit. I think the angle is kind of weird to be shooting like that. Yeah, this might be a little bit better. I wanted to show him next to one of the various versions, the one that I think most closely resembles this guy. And this is the Figure Arts Goku, a Saiyan Raised on Earth. That's the name of this version. And you can see just how well detailed this is in comparison. This is all kind of hard plastics. These are hard as well, but it doesn't feel like just really dense. It does, with the texture, feel more like some kind of fabric or cloth. Even some of the things that you can see here, these separate pieces, the way they did the clothing, hides these gaps really well on the shoulders. There's no separate pieces. That's all kind of hidden underneath the actual clothing. The coloring even of the skin looks, let's see, all this black stuff is getting stuck to his bicep. The coloring of the skin looks more, quote unquote, realistic or human-like. Less, kind of weird gap edges and seams here. And when we do articulation, you'll see that there's more or less gaps on this figure. And he's a decent amount taller, right? He's probably like, 40% taller than this version of the figure arts, this scale. All right, sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments probably. Oh yeah, so Shay, that's his like powered up form. He has many different powered up forms, and we'll switch it out over so you can see. But he's an alien, and they have this legendary form that he becomes when he gets angry, or he trains hard enough. He attains this kind of new form. That's and as you watch Dragon Ball, he just has more and more of these forms, which is it gets kind of ridiculous to be perfectly honest. So yeah, let's go into articulation before we do the accessories. His head is on like a ball joint that goes into the neck. It goes right into here. The top joint doesn't give you a whole lot of up and down movement, just really side to side. And then his neck here is also on a ball. So he gets a lot more of that movement here. I think his neck is a little too long, and I think proportion-wise, I think his head is a little smaller than I would like. It's less anime-ish and more realistic in terms of proportions there. His shoulders are on a ball peg. You can see that. That can go around if I can get it to. There we go. Go all the way around. Come out to the front. You can do pec fly. He does have a very nice deep elbow bend. Again, there's no seams in this rubbery material, so you don't see any gaps or anything like that. His fists are on a rotational joint here, so it hinges this way, and then also can rotate at the peg that's in here. So it's not a ball peg in here, it's just a regular kind of cylindrical peg. But with that, you can do some curling action or palms out action if you have the fire or energy blast kind of pose going on. One thing I did notice, and when I show it to you when we change the parts, is that you want to take it off at the hand, but sometimes it comes out at the wrist, which can be annoying to get back in. Coming to the mid of the body, you can see that he has some kind of ball joint inside of his torso, which gives you a lot of range. You can go to the side like this. You can go back. The only really big downside of this is that they have not extended this portion here, and you can see a gap here really easily. That's probably the biggest complaint I have in terms of the clothing. And then coming down to the waist, obviously you can go around with that ball peg. Coming down to the hips here, this is the most limiting factor of this design. I don't know why they decided to go with this design. I thought there might be some hidden joints with some figure arts figures or other figures in general, where you can extend it out or drop the hip down or to get more articulation. But you're actually quite limited in what you can do. This is good. This is pretty good, even though it breaks up the look because the way this is molded. But going out laterally, you get basically, that's it. That's as far as you can go. And it looks pretty awful here. I don't know why they thought that would be okay. You can't even do the kind of, anime poses that you would expect, kind of a wide stance. This is as wide as he gets. And it looks awful when you do that. So if you get this guy, you're going to be really limited in that lower body articulation. He does have a thigh swivel, but it is kind of tight. You can probably make it go 360, but it just looks unnatural once you get it a little bit more than that. His knees are double jointed, and it does give you a great amount of range. There's only a small bit of gappage here. The biggest gaps are actually in the front, where it breaks up the look. It makes it look like different pieces of armor as opposed to one piece of pants, which is just kind of weird. He also has a swivel here at the foot. It is really tight to get it past more than like 30 degrees either way. You can probably twist it 360 around, but I don't want to mess with my figure too much and damage it. It seems like you can, but I don't want to force it. It's a little bit scary in that sense. He has great ankle tilt or pivot to the side, as well as a good amount up and a decent amount down. A little bit more would have been nice, but it looks pretty good. And then he has toe up. So yeah, that's really it for his articulation. I was honestly expecting more from this figure, especially in the legs. Like, the legs are super disappointing. And again, with the way they designed this shirt, this gi, the top, I really would have preferred it to extend a bit more so you don't see into his pants or into his waist, essentially. What is a good start for watching Dragon Ball? Honestly, So Dragon Ball starts when the main character is a kid. That's the plain kind of vanilla Dragon Ball. It's more comedic, less action fighting oriented. There is some stuff, but it is more story driven, I would say. And then there's a gap where between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, where he becomes kind of an adult, or at least a young adult. Most people probably know that version. That's when he starts looking like this. That's when more of the iconic characters seem to come out, like Frieza and so forth. So I would say start there. It's called the Saiyan arc. Is probably where you would want to start. Yeah, he becomes an adult and has a kid. I do really like the original Dragon Ball series, but there's a lot of comedic elements and it's more slow paced and story driven than the Dragon Ball Z series. All right, so so let's go ahead and get into all of his different pieces. The way I'm not going to show off all the configurations, but I'll show you how basically it works. If you've ever messed with a Dragon Ball figure arts figure, it's all going to be the same to you. You take off the front piece where his bangs are, and then you can take out the face and then take out the eyes. And you can do any combination of, again, the 3 sets of eyes, the 2 different base faces, or as we're going to go to the Super Saiyan one. So we're going to go ahead and pop this ball joint out of here, and we're going to start constructing the head. So you can see there's a double ball peg here. I'm going to pop this on. The hair is super spiky and it hurts to put this on, so just be careful. Again, take out the bangs. We're going to put in his... We'll put in a sideways looking eye just because we've already seen the straight eyes. Plug that into these 2 ports there. Plug in the face. Come on. There we go. This almost looks like Vegeta, or because of the way his hairline is, or Super Saiyan 3. And yes, there's a bunch of different Super Saiyan forms that to the point where they're numbered. I think there's Super Saiyan 4, and then there's a bunch of other ones that are canon and go in different naming conventions. So this is how he looks with his Super Saiyan form. Swapping out the hands, again, we can really go through any number of these, but the most iconic will probably be his Energy Blast or Kamehameha. So we're going to pull this off. Like I said, it's this piece is also identical on the going into the wrist or forearm. And that sometimes pops off as well when you're trying to just take off the hand. So just be a little bit more mindful when you take it out so you don't pop it out. And then let's go ahead and put this other one in like so. And yeah, then you can have him like I have him posed in the thumbnail with his Energy Blast form. But again, I really would have liked a little bit more articulation in the hips to make it so you could do a lot more poses. All right, so really that's it. I mean, again, I could show you all of these, but I don't think you guys really need to sit through and watch me plug all these in. Overall, I think the figure is a really nice figure. It feels great. I think they just need to make some improvements to how these hips work and being careful of the gaps. But otherwise, he does look like a really tremendous figure. He can do a lot of different poses, especially with the upper body. And again, the shelf presence is really quite nice. He's pretty stable with all that articulation in the legs. He definitely looks like a much higher quality version than what we get with the figure arts figures. In terms of what this guy costs, this guy's actually very cheap. You can get him even at Target nowadays for like $35. Is this guy worth 3 times more than this? I would say yes. I would say yes for sure, just in terms of the overall look. And it looks more anime-ish, even with these kind of lines here. Like this one looks really kind of plain. This is actually probably one of my least favorite Gokus. So it might not be a great comparison, and he's one of the cheapest. But 3 times more than this probably makes sense, given that he's much bigger, he's much more higher quality. Aside from the hips, which this one has much more range, I would say this guy is basically better in every single dimension. Not to mention, you do also get the figure stand if you want to use that. These figure stands usually come at a cost of like, I don't know, like 15 bucks or something like that. So having this custom one for this display piece is actually quite nice. I don't know if they have plans to do any other releases for this line. I imagine they will, especially given the popularity of Dragon Ball. And it would just be weird for them to just do a one-off. I imagine they're going to do a lot of them, at least some of the iconic ones. Probably Vegeta, his biggest rival and also friend. They'll probably do Frieza, his most iconic and most recurring villain. He comes out all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a Piccolo, a Cell maybe, or something like that. You know, all these kind of iconic members of the Z Troopers, or I forget what they call them in America, but the Z Force or something like that. I think they probably will start doing that. And I think the price at 110 bucks is pretty good. Yeah, I still function. I agree. The crotch split is the worst part of this. Yeah, Kato's collection says articulation needs to be top notch on martial arts figures. Yeah, I agree. And again, especially coming from the Tamashii Nations brand, they've always been kind of touting accuracy and articulation. For this to be so limited in such a crucial area like the hips, if it was like limited in the foot maybe a little bit with the ankle tilt, I could forgive it way more than what this looks like here. Like this just looks kind of awful with the gap filler here that doesn't actually, you know, sometimes you can't even get the gap filler to stay in place. So that looks honestly kind of awful. But the paint details and the sculpt work and the overall anime, it does look very much like he just came off this anime screen. I don't know if I don't know if I'm a big fan of this rubbery thing. It just makes me feel weird. It doesn't feel fleshy. It just feels rubbery and sticky, and I don't like my figures feeling sticky. Boo, yeah, Boo would be huge. G-Force? What's Oh, hey Alex, how's it going, man? I just noticed it was Alex is actually a local who I met not that long ago. Because he was looking for figure arts figures. And we were just talking about the Imagination Works in our chat not too long ago. Pop the Trunk Toy says that's pretty cool. Never seen. Yeah, I mean he is brand new. I think some retailers don't even have him yet. Like I think he's on Amazon as well, still on pre-order. But if you guys want him right away, Toy Dojo does have him on sale. You can click the link in the description below. I think I did link that directly to the actual post or the page where this is for sale. Alex says, yeah, and I'm getting broke, thanks. Yeah, he came in. Alex is coming into collecting figure arts, Dragon Ball figure arts very late, and some of these are just super expensive now. He has a front bottom. Yeah, kind of. He does look like he has kind of a front butt. I don't even know what they're called, but yeah. Yeah, and even his butt when I mean, I don't know when you'll ever see him kind of twerking like this, but it makes his butt sculpt look really weird as well, and then you can see inside of here. I really feel like there should be other articulation in here, but I haven't been able to figure it out, and it's not, again, there's no real instructions on here. So other than this, which talks really about nothing except the changeable parts, I would have loved this section talking about the articulation, but I guess given that there isn't much to show, they didn't feel the need to have instructions like that. But yeah, Moose, so yeah, Moose Knuckle. And Camel, yeah. But yeah, that's really it. Gonna keep this one pretty short since he's not a transforming figure. Usually most of my videos go to about an hour. Live streams go to about an hour because I'm spending time doing transformations. But there's not much to show on this figure itself. I really just wanted to show him off and give you guys a good look at what you're getting with this figure and if you're getting the value out of it. I do still think he's worth 110 bucks, but only if obviously you're a Dragon Ball fan. Shay, if you're new, this is not really for you. But who knows? Maybe check back in a couple months. Let us know if you've watched some Dragon Ball. Highly recommend Dragon Ball Super, the movie, which is Dragon Ball Super Brawly. I think that's on Amazon Prime for free. That's a good way to get started. It'll definitely get you hyped up about the action, and it has really great production value and fight scenes. So, but yeah. Hey, Slow DK, how's it going? So it was the third day of day 3 of 10 of my live streaming streak that I'm trying to do. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, so I know it's probably not going to be super popular, and I have plans. So I'm actually going to be doing a live stream in the morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's not going to be a review. It's actually going to be an Ask Me Anything kind of just open talk conversation. I'll be showing my face and just having conversation, letting you guys ask me different questions about whether it's my reviewing life, how I do things, my collection, my experience as a reviewer, the other things I like to do, my other hobbies besides collecting figures and reviewing figures, other interests besides Transformers. Yeah, so it's just going to be a general Q&A, ask me anything, open talk. As long as it doesn't get me in trouble, don't ask anything too personal that my wife might get mad about. You can ask me about, my favorite times at TFCon, the cool people I've met, really anything. So it is going to be an Ask Me Anything that's going to be at 10 a.m. on Christmas Eve morning. So that's just in about 12 hours or so. And then on Christmas Day at night, I'm actually going to do another kind of talk show, really wanting to see what you guys got for Christmas, what I got for Christmas, talking about your Christmas memories, my fondest Christmas memories, whether that has to do with collecting Transformers or action figures, and otherwise. That'll be a short talk on Christmas Day, keeping it kind of casual, and then we'll roll back into actual reviews of figures starting on the 26th. So I still function. Yes, you can ask if I can transform MP36. It doesn't mean I will acknowledge that question. So yeah, so hopefully you guys will enjoy some of these other types of content that I'm going to be doing. Shout out to T-Man978 and TM Reviews, my reviewing buddies. If you haven't checked out TM Reviews channel, definitely do so. We do a monthly Transformers news kind of podcast between me, T-Man978, and TM Reviews on his channel, so that we talk about what's going on in the world of Transformers and other collectibles on that channel every month. It's always a good time. It's a great place to interact with us as well. So that's it for today, everyone. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, even though it wasn't Transformers or any robot-related content, but I'll talk to you in about 12 hours' time on the Ask Me Anything.